Good morning, everybody. For those that are new to the channel, my name's Maddie and I'm the Mayor of Croydon. We've got an extra special programme today. With me, I've got Julia. And it's a slight change from normality. Good morning, everybody. For those that are new to the channel, my name's Maddie and I'm the Mayor of Croydon. Julia is a journalist from your area. It's for most of us known as the Croydon Advertiser. And it's a slight change from normality in that we've got the politician interviewing the journalist. From not the common way round, and it's not something either of us are used to, but I'm sure we're going to have some fun. And from some of the information and stories Julia's got to tell are quite impressive. Julia and I have been friends for quite some time now, and she's been following the work I've been doing as mayor, so I can vouch for her from talent as a journalist. In every direction. Right, we're going to kick off with an opportunity for you to introduce yourself, Julia, a bit who you are and what your role within the local paper is.
Good morning. Excuse me, as Maddie said, I am a journalist. I work for Reach PLC, who you may have heard of. They run the Daily Mirror and a whole load of newspaper titles online and in print across the UK. I've worked in my current role for just over 3 years, which is predominantly community news. I started in this role producing content for our print titles. A lot of that involves creating content from local people, from charities, organisations and individuals get in contact, want to share some positive good news with us, which I then process and pass over to our print teams. And Maddie mentioned there that it's now moved over into In Your Area, which is really new for us. It's a whole new process for our team. All of our stories go online first onto our new In Your Area platform. So I was hoping to talk to Maddie today to let you know what we do and how you can get involved, and what us as a local, hyper-local platform and your newspaper for your area, of how you can get involved with us and what we're hoping to do for this year.
Perfect. I think the next question we've discussed that we're going to talk about is what your connection with Croydon specifically is. But I thought it might be quite a good lead-in if we just talk about how you and I got to know each other. I'm always happy to give Terry a plug.
Yeah, me too. Our Terry Turner, resident of the year.
100%.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're now in lockdown 3. The residents of the Shirley and Addiscombe area have had their lockdown made just that tiny bit better by this amazing, amazing man, Terry, who has a large collection of large teddy bears, who for almost every weekend through first lockdown and semi-continuously since, has been producing these bears, setting these bears up in scenes. I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but it's incredible. The one that I went to see officially as mayor, he'd set them up in a playground, and the amount of detail and how impressive and the work that he puts in, and all of this is done for charity. He set himself a target of, what was it, £1,000?
It was 3,000 by the end of the year. He didn't start off for charity. It started as a bit of fun for the local residents on Shirley Way. He started to take Bruno the bear in his car to the shops, and he stopped doing that, and a few of the children from the street asked him where had the bear gone, which prompted him to set up. It was just a really small scene in his front garden of Bruno the bear having his tea, I believe. And from then, the scenes just seemed to get a bit bigger. And someone approached him and said, you really need to, people are coming to visit you. Why don't you do something for charity? And it led from there. Terry started to raise money for Demelza Hospice for Children, charity, and they, as you say, the scenes have just been magnificent, which is what led us to connect, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. From one of the earliest things I had pleasure doing as mayor was to work with Neighbourhood Watch to do a joint certificate for community champions, particularly the hard work, the amazing champions during the original lockdown, and Terry was one of them. Julie reached out to me. She was doing a full report about Terry's work, and said, "I know that you've celebrated Terry. You did a certificate." And I was, yes, I thought it sounded incredible. From Neighbourhood Watch suggested it, and I said, "Yeah, no, go with it." And Julia told me a little bit more detailed what I hadn't really appreciated the scale of it, and so instantly I went straight to my team and said, "Oh, can I visit? Can I visit one of these? It sounds incredible." So they approached Terry, and he did me a great honour and said, "Yes, you can come and visit as a formal mayoral visit," which then unfortunately got put off. So Julia and I carried on talking while we're kind of preparing for this, and have ended up, becoming friends and doing regular updates with each other about what we're both doing while we're waiting. I finally got to see Terry just straight after the second lockdown. It was one of the few engagements I got in between the two lockdowns that was safe and able to social distance and wear my mask, etc. And it was amazing. It was incredible. It was cold, beautiful sunny day. The bears looked incredible. The only negative for me was I was desperately wanted to bring my two small children, but one of them was isolating at that point, so I couldn't. I didn't think it's fair to bring one.
We had the girl guides were there. It was a special display from the guiding unit, and we actually run a story on. We did two separate stories. One on your visit, and how proud Terry was, and I did a separate story on the girl guiding unit, because they're seeking leaders, desperately in need of leaders, because they are continuing through the pandemic. They're doing Zoom calls, so it was double good for me, actually.
I would support that call for girl guiding leaders as a guider. I was a guider for many years. I had to give up when I went to university, and politics has sort of slightly taken over, but it's my strong aim, maybe once my mayoralty is over, to look at starting again, because I do miss it. I think we ought to try and return to the questions that we've agreed, though. So let's talk a little bit about your connection with Croydon. Why do you write for Croydon in particular, Julia?
It was a print patch. I look after predominantly print titles in the southeast. So I look after Cambridge, Essex, Croydon, Kent. I live in Essex, so you'd think that Essex would be my patch. But due to resources within our team, Croydon was desperately looking for an increase in community content in the paper. So it became my baby. And for the last at least 2 years, I've been building up contacts and looking for positive stories that are happening within the community. And that's how I actually stumbled across Terry, because a member of the public contacted me via our Facebook group, our community news Facebook group, just telling me how wonderful this was, that there were these bear scenes for the residents. And it's an ongoing connection, and it's a role that I'm really enjoying, regularly writing about Croydon and getting to know it better. Logistically, I'm quite far away, but in the current climate, it turns out that geography doesn't really matter. So it's actually been quite a benefit, because I've still been able to talk with you monthly. I've been to see Terry twice now, to meet him. Once when I met yourself, and previously when we were actually allowed to go and visit, I went to see another bear scene to take some photos and talk to Terry. So yeah, I'm building it up, and need the help of the Croydon residents to just keep telling me how amazing everyone is, because that's the we talked about it this week, is that there are just some incredible people. And yes, we do need to know the bad news. We really do. It's important that we know what's going on in the world, and our readers are interested. That our other main news outlets like London, My London is part of Reach as well. So they bring you all sorts of different news. And as much as we don't want to hear the bad news all the time, we do need to know about it. But hopefully I'm bringing in a balance of the positives there. And from each individual community, from really local, that's really what we want to promote in the paper. And that's the beauty of In Your Area .co.uk, is because it doesn't have the same space restrictions as a paper. So we have a limited amount of pages and a limited amount of resources to produce those pages every week. With online, although we still have limited physical resources, there isn't a space limitation. So if you tell me that there's 10 amazing things happening in Croydon this week, I can share those 10 amazing things in Croydon this week. I'm not restricted by space or a sub-editor or an editor defining which is the better news story for the paper. All of those good news stories can be shared, which is really exciting for me.
We've not got a situation where you've got to drop the dead donkey.
No.
No, I would really emphasize that point. Croydon, like everywhere, has challenges. And as Julia said, it's vital that the bad news is reported. And as an example, people like myself are held to account by people like Julia. It might not appear that way, but we do value it. Because how can you know if you're doing a good job? How can you know if you're getting something wrong and if someone tells you? But it is also vital that we do the counterbalance, that we tell the good news, the fact that Croydon is an amazing place to live. I say, as you pick regular watchers will know, I've often said I've lived here my entire life. I have no desire to live anywhere else. It's my home. It's the place that gave me life. It gave me a happy childhood. It's given me an incredibly happy marriage, 2 amazing sons, and a home, and an experience beyond anything I ever imagined to be mayor of my town. It's incredible. And anything that I can do to make people see what I see about Croydon really makes me feel good. Julia might not technically be from Croydon, but you can tell she loves it.
I do. The people, I don't know the area very well, but the people that I'm getting to know as part of this role is what amazes me every week. Every week when I compile a roundup of the stories that we've done, or I'm preparing to submit some content to the print team, it's the people I've met. Everyone's genuinely been wonderful.
Well, we love you, and you're one of us. You're an honorary Croydonian, whether you like it or not. And we don't let go of people either.
Glad to hear it.
And I think it might be worth just picking up on the point you made about people submitting stories to you, and just to emphasize that and more. If you've got a good news story, if you know something amazing about Croydon, and let's be honest, we all know something amazing about Croydon, Julia and her team are very keen to hear about it, and it's very easy to let her know. Do you want to just explain how that works?
There are numerous ways to get in touch with me or to shout about your good news. I'm available on email. Which is there a way that we can share this after?
Yeah, we can put it in the comments underneath.
So I'll share my email address with you, and that will take you directly to the team and myself that deal with the Croydon news. And another key way of doing it is by checking out our community news Facebook group, Community News Croydon, it's called. And obviously, what I would really love you to do is to register on inyourarea.co.uk. You enter your postcode and it gives you all of the local news, not just us. It's not just Reach PLC. It's local news from across the country. But it is targeted for Croydon news to Croydon people. So it'll be your postcode area. You can then talk to other people in your local area. You can request help. You can, there's a marketplace, you can comment on news stories, talk to each other, and on there you can people generally share something good that's happening, and it's always moderated by myself or other members of the team, and we can see and we can contact you. You can post pictures on there. So that's another, there's lots of avenues, lots of ways of getting in contact with me. And then once we've established a story and we've made contact, I can, in some instances, I can create an article, which is a news story from in your area, and then that gets sent over to the print team, and you might find yourself in the paper, which a lot of Croydon residents have over the last year or so via that method, which started off as a photograph, a comment, someone shouting out about something amazing someone else did. That's what's resulted in a lot of the positive news stories that I've used so far.
So from Pete, we'll include all of these details in the comments underneath, but I would particularly like to pick up area.co.uk. Please, all my loyal watchers, however many of you there are, I really encourage you to join that. But it was one of the more surreal moments when Julia's first article about me hit on there. That was a feeling. Contrary to popular belief, it's not it doesn't feel normal for politicians to see their name. It's still weird, even after all these years. It was just nice. It was something positive for a change.
It's still weird as a journalist to see your name, to have a byline. It's exactly the same. Doesn't matter how many stories you write. Seeing your name under a story, you still get that warm, fuzzy feeling.
I could well imagine. Well, from my perspective, Julia, you deserve all the praise in the world for the work you're doing. From a sign of good journalism is someone that wants to see the good and the bad, to my way of thinking. But then I might be considered to have a slightly biased perspective on that. I think this probably is a kind of natural one to lead on to the next pre-recorded question. It's kind of what it means for the people of Croydon having this opportunity like available to them. I mean, obviously we've touched on the benefiting their own stories, but I think maybe we can just extend the discussion about the value of having something like that and how it would impact us in the borough.
As we said, sharing positive news and highlighting the good things is a really good way of balancing, especially what's going on right now in the world. But being able to let you know that you can contact me, that you can share your good news stories with me, and we've got various different platforms of sharing that with local people. So if you want to raise awareness of something, if you want to just shout about something that's been amazing, there's lots of tools now, lots of different ways that we can do that. What In Your Area does is, although Reach PLC is a massive, nationwide organisation, we're really focusing on the small hyperlocal. I say hyperlocal all the time. It's like a buzzword for us at the moment in Your Area, but it is hyperlocal. So in Your Area, you will see some national information and national stories, but it is targeted so that you see what is relevant to you. And it also gives you the ability to put your own input into that. So we're a growing platform. So the benefit to the Croydon residents is that the more we get interaction from the public, the more we can target that information to what you want to see. So we know that people are interested in the COVID stats. So we've got widgets on there, that we call them widgets, where you can put in, when you sign on, when you put in your postcode, it tells you what the stats are near you, how they've changed over the last 7 days. We've got a vaccination widget where people can find out where the centres are, which GP surgeries are connected to those. There's public notices, things that are happening near you. We're now doing planning applications. So not everyone wants to log into the planning portal to access the planning applications that are local to them. Not some people have no inclination of doing that online. So we're starting to put those in print, and we're starting to make them more available on In Your Area. But these are all incentives based on what people have asked for. So that's where you can get involved. It's not, we don't claim to know what you want to read. That's where In Your Area comes in. It gives us where the more people interact and tell us, we can give you the information that you really want in one place, hopefully.
It might be worth at this juncture for me to just share a shot of it.
Yeah.
We could do that live in it to play ball. Bear with me a minute. Which one's it on? That one. This is not the most organised I've ever been. I apologise, viewers. There it is. Right. Welcome to In Your Area, everybody. Julia, do you want us to talk through what we're seeing?
Yeah, so we're looking at this on a browser on the computer, but there is also a mobile app version of it, which is a very similar layout. When you first access the site, it will ask you to enter your postcode. That's so that all of the information that is shown to you is targeted to your postcode. You can pick, you need to select 3 different areas or more than the areas that you're interested in reading more about news-wise. So if you pick 3 there or more if you want to.
That's my local area to where I live. I'll just pick that.
Brilliant.
There we are. There we are.
Okay, and this is the platform. So the initial screen that comes up will just give you some recent updates from the local area, and as you can see from there, they might be the homeless charities. That's a story that In Your Area have processed. There's information on properties. There is the round circle with a house. That is a local resident that's made a comment or asked a question, is asking for a recommendation. But we also bring in news from other outlets such as Get Surrey, My London News, Inside Croydon. So we're not just promoting Reach PLC or our own brands or our own papers. It's a multi-platform. It brings in news that is relevant to you, not just relevant to us at Reach PLC or In Your Area. So that's just your main dashboard. So that's a bit of an overview of what's going on. On the left-hand side, you've got all different features. So you can click specifically on news, which will just bring news in the local area. Or it does also show some national some national articles that may have relevance. Memory lane is a new feature that is quite sweet. That might take you off into a different branch of the site, but basically memory lane is a place for people to share old photographs. You can put in Croydon or you can put in whatever location you want to look for, and it has, if you put in a black and white image, it has a really handy tool that will colorize it, which has been, we've really enjoyed playing with it, and we know our readers are really enjoying it. But that's another link to print as well, because we can find some good images from Croydon in a theme and then produce a picture page for our readers in the paper, which is really nice. So that's another.
That's brilliant. That's news to me. I'd not found this bit yet. Croydon's quite history, particularly Addiscombe, the ward that I represent, is very fond of its history. It's got a very rich, colourful, shall we say, history. And there's some very organised history groups in Croydon. So that ties in beautifully with some things that I've seen. Right. Okay. Is there anything else you want to show us, Julia?
Just the community section. So back up above memory lane, if you click on community, that is That's a vital part. This is the bit that we really need people to get involved in. So this is where you chat. So you can talk to each other, ask questions, tell us about something amazing. And that's where we want to start get some conversations going. And then through those conversations, we can see what you're interested in and make sure that we tailor your user experience to suit what you would like and what you need.
From just go for the hit pictures, I can't help myself. As a historian, you just get gripped. That's Shirley Oaks, down the corner from where I live, and St John's. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. That's incredibly unprofessional, but very me. Let's be honest.
So that's in your area, and as I say, that links now to our print titles, to the community news section of our print titles across the southeast. In our case, the Croydon Advertiser, and I'm using this all the time as a tool to source stories and to get to know the community. So that's where I hope that this link will become stronger between the residents of Croydon and their local papers, your local paper.
Okay, brilliant. So just as a brief snapshot, but to give an idea about how varied and involved and powerful in your area can be. And keep putting your stories up, and you'll keep hearing from the amazing Julia. Right, I'm going to move on to the next area. Let's have a look here. Some of the memorable stuff touched on Terry, but do you want to give us a few more of your incredible stories for the last year? Because I think it's important that people hear.
Let me just bring up my screen.
You want to share yours?
I'm not entirely sure how. Rather than keep you waiting and be distracted from me trying to master how to share screens and things, I'll just, they're on in your area. At the beginning of the year, I did a few roundup stories to show some of the good things that we reported on over the last 6 months. And I've picked out a few to tell you about. So over 3,800 iPads were distributed to Croydon Academy students. A part of the Oasis Academy group. There was a big initiative to ensure that children had access to devices during the pandemic or through working from home. So that was a lovely story to share. What else have we got out? Oh, a great thing that happened was, talking of images, one thing that we always lacked in the Croydon Advertiser was good pictures of the area. I know there's beautiful places in Croydon, but we really struggled to get photos for our photo of the week on our letters page. And I was trying all different avenues to try to get people to share some photos. They don't have to always be green or scenic, but just something interesting from the area. And I did a shout out using In Your Area, asking for people to email me photos. And I got some really, really stunning images. There's some really amazing budding photographers that really put a spotlight on some areas of beauty or some great architecture and things like that. So that was something I wanted to mention, we're really keen to see your photos, and we use them a lot in our print titles, and our readers love to see them, old ones and new ones.
So again, saying keep submitting your stuff and it'll keep getting printed. From Julia, genuinely, I hope you can tell, really wants to hear what you've got to say. Same goes for the council when all said and done, actually. Truth is, it might not seem that way, but journalists, politicians alike want to hear what people have got to say. This is just a way, and this is many ways of doing it.
It feels like we do all of the talking a lot of the time, but we can't carry on without taking that back from soaking it all in. I'm only talking about what you're doing, reporting on what is happening, and we can't do that. It's the same as things can't be improved if we don't hear what needs to be improved or people don't tell us the good news. So that's my, I feel quite strongly about that. It's like, communicate with me. I love it. I'll always find the time to try to share as much as I possibly can. What else? I found a lovely story at Christmas. This was an image that someone had sent to us on In Your Area, and it was the 20-foot tree of lights in New Addington.
I love the tree of lights. That was wonderful,
beautiful, and members of they really considered the pandemic and the social distancing guidelines, and they had a little area where people of the same bubble or same group could be underneath the tree, and it was just a really, really lovely idea. So, and that one was received really well by our readers as well. They really liked to see something so positive, because we'd all had the news that we were going into tighter restrictions just before Christmas, and yet there was something really lovely going on.
Welcome to Croydon. Again, keep going back to Croydon has a valid and well-deserved reputation for being able to fight back any adversity. Basically, this channel is turning to a certain extent into I Love Croydon Fest. But that's no bad thing. If the mayor of Croydon doesn't love Croydon, then there's probably an issue going on. But no, it was incredible. I love the Tree of Light. It was just such a wonderful, in what is a very difficult and dark time for so many people.
Yeah,
both of us. It is wonderful to see that they see some light. They get us through these final months while the vaccine rollout happens.
Yeah,
and as I always, time the topic comes up, just a quick one, Julia. Sorry, slightly off topic, but I always emphasise, when your phone call comes, go and get your vaccine. If you've got any questions, there's lots of good information available through the NHS, through doctors, on the council, from for your GP. Just make sure that you take an informed decision based on the experts. And if you possibly can, and you feel, please, please, please go and get your vaccine. You'll be saving your own and countless other lives. Sorry, Julia.
It's okay. I was just going to say there are far too many good news stories to list. I've barely scratched the surface of the stories that we covered. There was fundraising and local heroes, people that went above and beyond the call of duty to help others. There are just so many stories like that weren't necessarily pandemic related. There were many stories that weren't pandemic related, just that people doing really wonderful things. And if we can continue to keep up that momentum, and I'll keep sharing them, that will be wonderful.
Right, well, there you've heard it. The truth of the matter is that Julia wants to hear from you. Journalism and politics, as we've said, is powered by hearing people's points of view, by understanding the reality of what people's day-to-day life is like, good and bad. And I thought it would be really good to do this interview, which I think ties us back to where we started, to just prove the fact that we want to hear and to encourage people to submit that information. Julia's always available. I'm always available. Your counsellor's always available. Please get in touch. Tell us if you're not happy with us. Tell us if you are happy with us. We'd like to hear some good stuff too. And Julia is the untold expert at reporting the amazing things that are happening in Croydon. I think she's been quite modest. The final question that we've got prepared is what residents could do to help, and how they, obviously we've just touched briefly on how they can share their news of the paper, but is there anything in particular you would like them to do to help develop the paper specifically? And the website.
I think we covered it. Share with your friends and your neighbours who might not necessarily. There will be friends and neighbours that don't buy a paper, but if we can support that as well, and remember that there are people that are still very, very reliant on their newspapers because they're not so technology minded, I can't even say it, And vice versa. There are people that have no interest in buying a paper physical copy because information is so readily accessible on the internet. But as we said before, that the information that we want to provide to the residents is reliant on residents telling us as well. So yeah, just again, keep in touch. Let me know what's going on, news in your area, and just keep shouting about the wonderful things. You're never going to stop doing the wonderful things. Just, shout about it. Tell us about it. It might be what you... When Terry Turner first started with his bears, he didn't anticipate becoming a Croydon local hero or raising over £5,000 for charity. It was something that he did for a bit of fun to cheer people up at a really bad time, and it has grown so much. And it is whatever, even if you feel it's really small, share it with us on in your area, and then let us see if we can encourage more people to take part.
Brilliant. It's difficult to kind of top that, because that's kind of getting to quite questions, but this is the bit I always do at the end, and I always slightly surprise my guests with. One of my favorite podcasts ends their interview with, he calls closing arguments, which is where I get the opportunity to shut up and give the final word to my guest to talk about whatever they want, any message they want to get across, anything they want. What here, Julia? Over to you.
Oh, you have put me on the spot. I feel like I'm just repeating myself though.
No, that's fine. That's natural. That's the point. What the idea of this is, it is your natural response, and it is. I know it's putting you on the spot, but if you prepare anything, you can usually tell. So,
I feel really strongly about there being a balance. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about local communities. That's really, really important to me, and that's why I am really enjoying my role in your area. And I think that press, and the same as politicians, we get some bad press, and there will be people that don't like what we do, and that is the nature of our roles. But I'm hoping that seeing me talk to Maddie today, and the relationship that we've built up, which is based on positive good news, is it's just a way forward in 2021, that this is the year of hope and positivity, and we do have good things to look forward to this year, and that I will be here to share them.
Well said, Julia. Absolutely. You might have claimed that you put on the spot, but that's the whole point. They're natural and powerful statements people make in that moment. Okay, that takes us to the end of our discussion for today. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Submit your answers in your Croydon and in your area. Sorry, Croydon specific. I always slip an extra Croydon in whenever I can possibly can. And Julia will report it. It will get printed. It might end up in the paper. But most importantly, you'll be sharing your amazing stories with your neighbours. Croydon has the amazing privilege of being the biggest borough in London. It's second biggest in area, biggest in population. One of the youngest boroughs in London. And of being, to my way of thinking, one of the most amazing places to be. And it's time we make sure that it gets noticed. Thank you all very much. Our next set of interviews will be continuing my series of interviewing the faith leaders for the borough, which is to lead us up to our video on Holocaust Memorial Day. Thank you all, everybody. Stay safe and keep wearing your masks, keep social distancing, and we'll get through the pandemic. Thank you all.